While Linda was working on her report, disaster struck. The plane she was on suddenly exploded mid-air. Several people didn't make it. The wreckage crashed into the ocean, and somehow, Linda survived, washing up on a mysterious island. As she tries to make sense of what just happened, she comes face to face with a strange man. But instead of helping her, he attacks. The two fight, and Linda does everything she can to stay alive. She's not just some ordinary woman, she fights like a warrior. Meanwhile, at the office, she looks messy and socially awkward, and despite her efforts, she struggles to connect with her coworkers. One of them, Donovan, asks for the reports she worked on, then casually tells her she won't be attending the board meeting, so he can remove her name and take full credit. Linda has been expecting a promotion to VP, something the company's late manager had promised her. Now that his son, Bradley Preston, has taken over, she hopes that promise will finally be fulfilled. Bradley arrives and meets the team, including Linda. However, he's immediately put off by her behavior, especially when he notices her eating a tuna sandwich at her desk with food still on her mouth. A senior executive, Franklin, reminds Bradley about the promotion Linda was promised, but Bradley admits he already gave the position to Donovan, his former frat buddy. Clearly unimpressed by Linda, Bradley only agrees, after some pressure, to let her join them on a business trip to Bangkok for a merger. Later, Linda learns from a coworker that she didn't get the promotion, and that Donovan did. Furious and hurt, she storms into Bradley's office while he's in the middle of an interview, demanding an explanation. Bradley brushes her off with excuses and ends up embarrassing her, though he does mention she's still expected to join the Bangkok trip. Linda leaves in tears but manages to compose herself before boarding the flight with Bradley, Donovan, and the rest of the team. During the flight, Linda works on a report, unaware that Donovan is secretly showing the others an old audition tape she made for Survivor, where she demonstrates her survival skills. The group laughs at her, thinking she can't hear them because she's wearing headphones. But Linda realizes what's happening and, upset, deletes her report. Suddenly, the plane hits severe turbulence. As chaos erupts, Linda and Bradley manage to strap themselves in while the others are violently thrown around. The situation gets worse when the plane loses pressure and a hole rips open in the cabin. Donovan and another passenger, Chase, struggle to hold on, with Donovan desperately demanding Linda give up her seat, even going as far as trying to choke her. In self-defense, Linda stabs his hand with a fork, forcing him to let go and sending both him and Chase out of the plane. However, Donovan's tie gets caught, and he's dragged along the aircraft until it crashes into the ocean. Linda manages to free herself from her seat, escapes the wreckage, and swims to safety, grabbing onto a floating raft. The next morning, Linda wakes up stranded on an island in the Gulf of Thailand. After wandering for hours, she eventually finds Bradley unconscious, his leg badly injured. She drags him to a safer spot, builds a basic shelter, and collects rainwater during a storm to survive. The following day, Bradley wakes up. Linda gives him water and some fish she managed to catch and cook. He's shaken when he learns that Donovan is dead and that no one else survived the crash. Instead of being grateful, Bradley quickly grows irritated, complaining that Linda isn't doing enough to signal for rescue. After rejecting her help and insulting her, he pushes her away, so Linda leaves him there. At first, Bradley assumes she'll come back right away. But 2 days pass, and he's left helpless, parched, starving, and baking under the sun. Eventually, Linda returns and gives him water. Realizing they need more food, she crafts a spear and goes off to hunt a wild boar. The hunt turns intense. The boar chases her, but Linda manages to leap onto it from above and drive the spear into its body. It's not enough to kill it, though. When the animal charges again, she stabs it a second time. Even then, it refuses to go down, forcing Linda to finish it off by stabbing it in the eye, enduring blood and filth splattering across her face. She later brings back the carcass, including the severed head, to cook. The next day, Linda discovers a fresh water source where she can bathe and drink. While exploring, she spots a ship in the distance. She tries to get its attention, but then hesitates and ultimately decides she's not ready to be rescued just yet. Meanwhile, Bradley grows frustrated being dependent on Linda, especially since she clearly knows how to survive. He attempts to set up his own camp but completely fails. With no other choice, he swallows his pride and asks Linda if he can stay with her and share her food and water. This time, she agrees. Linda takes Bradley across a cliff to teach him how to survive in the wild. She shows him which berries are poisonous and points out dangerous plants they need to avoid. Later that night, she gets them both drunk with homemade wine. As they talk, Linda opens up about her past, revealing she was once married to an abusive man, and that she allowed him to drive drunk, which ultimately led to a fatal car crash. Over time, Linda begins to develop feelings for Bradley after accidentally seeing him bathing by the shore. Their bond also deepens when he helps her reach safety inside a cave during a violent storm that destroys their camp. But things take a dark turn when Bradley gives Linda food that secretly contains poisonous berries. He then attempts to escape the island on a raft he built, trying to leave her behind. However, the raft is destroyed by the rough waves, and he washes back onto the island. Desperate to save him, Linda tries to perform CPR, even vomiting the poison onto his face in the process, but he eventually comes back to life. In response, Linda feeds him an octopus laced with toxins that leave him temporarily paralyzed. She then pretends to torture him, making it look like she is castrating him while he can't feel anything, but in reality, she is only holding a dead rat as a bluff. Later, Linda is shocked when Bradley's fiancée Zuri arrives on the island along with a boat captain sent to rescue them. Terrified of returning to her old life, Linda leads them toward the cliff. Suddenly, the ground collapses beneath Zuri, sending her falling. The captain rushes to save her, but Linda hesitates for a moment before picking up a large rock and striking him, causing both him and Zuri to fall to their deaths. Afterward, Linda returns to Bradley, but she is haunted by hallucinations, seeing Zuri's figure crawling along the beach, as her guilt begins to surface. Bradley goes off to hunt a wild boar on his own, but instead stumbles upon something far more disturbing, Zuri's severed arm lying on the beach. He recognizes it immediately by her large diamond engagement ring. Shocked and enraged, he confronts Linda with the ring, forcing her to admit to the murders. Realizing the truth, Bradley grabs the knife Linda had claimed washed up on shore and turns on her. He chases her into the forest, and the two engage in a vicious, brutal fight. The struggle leaves Linda badly injured, her scalp partially torn and one eye destroyed, before she manages to stab Bradley in the side and escape. Bradley stumbles away, only to discover a mansion hidden near the cliffside. He forces his way inside and suddenly hears Linda's voice over the speakers. It turns out she had discovered the mansion when she first spotted the ship and later learned the security code from the caretakers. She had been secretly using the place for food and supplies, hiding it from Bradley to maintain control over him. Linda then appears, holding a shotgun. Bradley tries to calm her down and even tells her he loves her, but she quickly realizes it's a manipulation when she notices something missing from the house. In the chaos, Bradley disarms her, but the shotgun turns out to be empty. Linda seizes the moment, grabs a golf club from the wall, knocks him down, and brutally beats him to death. A year later, Linda has survived and returned to civilization, now celebrated as a sole survivor. She has risen to power at Preston and even published a memoir, presenting herself as a symbol of survival and offering advice to others. In the final scene, she drives away with her pet parrot. This story shows how survival can slowly change a person's morality. At first, Linda is just trying to live, but as isolation and trauma build up, she becomes more calculated and dangerous. It raises a disturbing question: Does survival justify losing your humanity, or does it reveal who you really are when no one is watching?